Okay, looks like I'm live. All right, good afternoon, everyone. It looks like I'm live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Hangouts. My name is Maribeth Shima. I am the convener of the Parenting Through Mentorship Tribe on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. All right, so welcome to this live broadcast this Thursday. I don't know, for some reason, I've been having this really on you Instagram, sorry, on YouTube. It's so blurry. Okay, it looks like that's better now. All right, so if you're with me, let me adjust this lights. It looks like pretty dark. Let's see if we can adjust our lights. Is this good? If you're with me, please let me know who is with me and where you're joining me from. Hi, Bola Joko. Good afternoon, ma'am. It's good to have you. Good afternoon. Let me see if I can wipe my screen again on YouTube. It looks funny. Okay. I don't know if it's my computer. All right. So good afternoon. Welcome to this live broadcast. If you're here with us, if you're joining us, please let us know where you're joining from. Okay. Let me know where you're joining me from. Please don't stay in the background. Just say something. Let us know where you are joining us from. Is this a problem or is just my camera? When I clean it, it becomes a bit clear. And then after that, it goes back to that blurry look. Okay. All right. So if you're here and you have a friend, a sister, okay, someone who needs to be here, please tag them right now. Tag them so that they can join us right now. Tag them right now so they can join us. If you're here, say something. Don't just stay in the background. We want to meet you. If you're new in the group, welcome, welcome. We've been having a lot of new people join the group these days. So welcome. We are glad. We are happy to have you in the group. We're excited to have you in the group. Please feel free to engage with the content in the group and share your experiences and your knowledge with us. You're welcome to do that. We like it when you share experiences and knowledge with us. Basically, that's the goal of the group. Okay, a community where we can support each other. All right, this isn't looking nice at all. Okay, all right. So today we're going to be talking. We said today we're going to be talking about how we can foster independence in our children. That's what we're talking about today. If you're here, tag someone. Let's shoot. Okay, let someone know that there's a lot of value going on here right now. So let's talk. Okay, so in my experience as a teacher and in a classroom and a parent coach, one of the most common questions that I encounter or that I'm asked, a lot of the times is, how can I help my child become independent? What do I do to ensure that my child, oh, this isn't nice at all. What should I do to ensure that my child is independent? Okay. And in answering that question, I always look at the parent who is asking that question, and I look at the time where the parent is asking that question. So that question on its own is a very good question, beautiful question, because yes, we were created, as in we were created to have minds of our own. Okay, if God wanted us to depend on other people to think for us, to figure out things for us and all of that, he probably would have done it that way, such that we can't think for ourselves. But we were created. So even as a child, we were all created to think for ourselves. So yes, each of us is supposed to think for ourselves. So even our children are supposed to be trained to think for themselves. So being independent should be a goal for every parent. But most times, the points where parents begin to ask this question is the point where there is trouble. Okay, for some reason, you find that your child doesn't want to do anything. Your child is always clinging on you. Your child does not hold his own in a crowd. Okay, when he's with his friend, he tends to listen to what every other person says, and then feels bad every time someone is not there to help him, support him, or someone is not doing someone is not validating him. So that's the point usually where parents begin to, run and ask this question. So there's always an emergency, right, when parents ask this question. And that one is when there is a problem. Okay, the other one is when the children become adolescents or teenagers. That's where you have parents asking the question, okay, how do I help my child become independent? Now, these both times, the both times that I just talked about, or even for some people, even is at a point where they are ready to go to college. Please, can you get me something to wipe my screen? It's really blurry. All right. And then for some people, it's even at the point where the children are ready to go to college or the children are ready to leave your home that you begin to think of independence. Now, the timing is the problem. The question is it's amazing, fantastic question. What can I do to help my child be independent? The problem is the time where you're asking that question, because because independence is something that should be a goal right from when your child is little. Okay, hello, Nina, it's good to have you. So independence should be a goal right from when your child is little. So at every phase of the life, at every phase of your child's life, right, there is supposed to be a level of independence. And it's you as a parent that will foster that independence in your child. So if you have to wait till your child is 11, your child is on his way to secondary school, or your child is having difficulties with his friends, and all of that, for you to start asking the question or for you to start helping your child be independent, then that's not the best of time. But in parenting, we always say the day you wake up is your morning, right? So it's okay that, you're asking at that point. There's always something that can be done at every stage or at every phase where we decide to wake up to our responsibilities as parents, or we decide to be more intentional about our parenting, isn't it? So first thing first, right? First thing first, and I'm sure you have heard this many times. You've heard this many times, right? Number one, I'm going to give you five, okay? Five, what do you call it now? 5 ways or 5 things you need to do to foster independence in your child, okay? And some of these are things that you've been hearing, okay, but you probably have not looked at it from a particular angle. So number one is you need to get your children to do things for themselves. And I am not saying, okay, I'm not saying you need to get your children to start doing things for themselves when they go off to boarding school. I'm not saying you need to get your children to start doing things for themselves when they are old enough. I'm saying you need to get your children to start doing things from themselves from the moment that they are aware of themselves. So yes, you need to get your 1-year-old to do stuff for themselves. You need to get your 8-month-old to do stuff for themselves. And this is how it works. The moment a child is ready to start doing stuff for themselves, you will see them. You see your toddlers, they actually will struggle with you. You want to do something for them and they will struggle and they're like, no, I did. And they want you to let them. But a lot of the times as parents, we would not allow them because we have this mind block that the child is too young to do anything for himself. So because you think that the child is too young to do anything for themselves, you don't allow them. That's one reason. The second reason is because you do not want the mess. You don't want them to make a mess of things and all of that. You are so concerned about your house looking pretty, your house looking cute, your house looking clean and all of that. So because you are so concerned about how tidy your space is, and you're not looking at the learning that is happening in the life of the child, you would rather the child doesn't do anything and you would do everything for the child, because somewhere in your head the child is too young and the child doesn't need to do anything right now. When they come of age, they will begin to do things. No, this is a mindset block and this is a limiting belief, and this is one of the reasons why our children end up not being able to make decisions, able to do things for themselves, stand up for themselves, or start anything for themselves. Now, you need to understand something in parenting, that most of the ills that we see, or most of the challenges that we have or our children have, by the time they are 15, 16, 18, 20, 25, 30, and 40, most of those challenges that come up at those points are actually foundational problems that were not nipped in the bud. So a lot of the things that we see manifest or show up later in the life of our children, even at the point where they are adults, it's not because at some point they met friends who twisted their minds. It's not because they got into environments where they became free and then they started to do differently from what you've taught them. A lot of the times it's because the foundation was wrong, or because mistakes were made in at the foundation, or things were done, or things showed up in the foundational stage of your child's life that you did not nip in the bud. And so they carry these things along, or they carry these experiences without correction. They carry these experiences without I'll come back to correction, because people will say, oh, but I always correct them. I mean, it's more than correcting them for just 1, 2, 3, 2 years. Some of these things are like, I mean, they take a very, very long time. That's the truth about parenting. Parenting is not a quick fix. There's nothing in parenting that is a quick fix. There's nothing in parenting that happens automatically. There is nothing when it comes to a child that happens in 2 days, 3 days. Some children will take 1 week to learn something, 2 weeks, 1 month, 4 years, 5 years. Okay, so it is on you as a parent to look at this child and say, oh, this skill has been internalized. And so let's move on to the next skill while we continue to reinforce this. Or it's for you to be truthful enough to yourself to say, yes, I have been teaching this, but I can see that this skill is still not, it's not yet internalized. And so you hang in there. Now, how you hang in there is also very important. Are you going to hang in there patiently, helping, correcting, nudging, and prompting the child? Or are you going to hang in there and forcefully make the child obey and do what you want them to do at the point, so that you can train another pretentious child who does things in your presence, and when you're not there, they don't bother. All right. So basically, what I'm saying is our children need to start doing, and they need to start doing from the word go. Okay. So at every point, there is a level of independence that your child should have. And the moment you understand this and you begin to bring your child up, or you train your child up as an independent person, or you train your child up to be independent, you will find that independence becomes second nature. So at the point where your toddler is saying to you, no, I want to wear the shoes, please let them wear the shoes. So now it's you, parents. Do you want to start, trying to have the child wear that shoe 2 minutes before you need to get out of the door? Or are you going to be realistic and say to yourself, I am a parent of toddlers, or of a toddler, and so I need to create ample time during preparation. Okay, I need to create ample time when we're preparing to go out. So that's way, when you have the allowance of time, you can allow children try. So a lot of times we are always in a hurry. We're always, it's always last minute. You can't parent effectively without creating plans. You can't parent effectively without being conscious. You can't parent effectively without being purposeful. You can't parent effectively without preempting, thinking ahead, and putting things in place. Parenting is strategic. Even now, more now than ever. Okay, parenting in the 21st century is strategic. So you are strategic about every phase in your child's life. So yes, if you are a parent of a toddler, then you are not that one that wants to run out of the house just 2 minutes, 2 minutes before it is time. You want to create ample time for the excesses that our children have. But by and large, our children are supposed to be able to do things for themselves, and that begins right from the word go. As soon as they are aware of themselves, as soon as they are old enough to do anything for themselves, please let them do. Hi, Raji, it's good to have you. All right, I see you on here. I see you, Alice. Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you have a friend who needs to be here right now, please tag them by all means. Let them come. Let's have this conversation so that you can ask your questions live. Okay, even as we're going. So yes, Very, very importantly, now there's some mindset blocks that we have that do not allow our children thrive. One of them is the fact that they are not old enough, and I just debunked that. There is nothing like your child is not old enough. Every phase, there's independence that can be practiced at every phase of your child's life. Independence can be practiced at different phase and every phase of your child's life. Now you want to ask me, how can I ensure that my toddler is independent? What do I do to to sow the seed of independence? Because parenting is seed time and harvest time. And for every behavior you want to see in your child, every single behavior, you need to be that purposeful, you need to be that intentional, you need to be that strategic, you need to be that conscious. So at every phase of your child's life, you need to be sure of what you want to see in the child's life. You want to see the child achieve. What experiences do you want to create for this child? What experiences do you want to create for the child? What behavior do you want to see in the child? Now you want your child to be independent. You want to create independence at every level, or at the level where your child is a toddler. Your child is 10 months and 12 months, 24 months, and all of that. What do you do? Now, this is one of the ways, or this is one of the things you can do. Create experiences for your child to play independently. Okay, I call it invite your child to play. I've said that if you've been following me, you've heard me. I use this with my children, with both my children. I use this amazing, amazing strategy to help children become independent. And I said that much in my book, Mentor Parents. Okay, so in Mentor Parents, I wrote a lot about what I did with the children, especially during the foundation stage of their lives. Okay, so one thing you want to do is you want to create experiences that invite your child to play. Okay, and then you want your child to be engaged and then learn to play independently. So independent play is a good way to start. It's a foundational skill, or it's foundational strategy that you need to employ if you are a parent of a toddler. Okay, so how do you create independent play, or how do you invite children to play? Now, the attention span of your child by the time they are 12 months and 10 months, even up to when they're like 3, 4. Okay, the attention span is very short. Okay, the attention span is very short, and so you need to be realistic about the goals that you're setting, or realistic about what it is, the outcomes that you're looking for. So you want your child not to leech on you. You want your child not to always depend on you. You want your child to be able to play independently. Now you need to be realistic. Your 1-year-old will probably be able to stay away from you for about 2, 3, 4 minutes. Okay, 2, 3, 4 minutes. Your 2-year-old will be able to do that for about 4 to 6 minutes. Okay, your 4-year-old will be able to do that for about 8 to 10 minutes. So what do you do? The best way to go about it is to engage them first. So do an activity that allows you begin engaging your child together. You can get an activity that you can do together at the beginning. Now, when you start doing that engaging activity, what you want to do is tactically excuse yourself. When your child is engrossed in that activity, the child doesn't even realize that you have left the scene. So the child continues to play on their own, and you will find out they would be there for your typical 2-year-old. She'll probably be there for about 4, 6 minutes before she realizes that you're not there, and then she will come and look for you. Now, what we're doing is, in parenting, especially for your toddlers, you need to understand what is called shaping in parenting. Shaping is a process, is a critical concept, right, in parenting, where you reward anything that looks or is that resembles what you are looking for in your child. All right, and it also entails that you introduce what you want to see gradually. Okay, so yes, at the beginning your child may be able to just stay there for 4 minutes and then run to you. That's fine. Okay, that is very fine. Oh, okay. Sorry, mommy had to leave and all of that. All right, let's go and do a bit more. Okay, let's go. Or just go. I'll come and join you in the next 1 minute. No, mommy, I want you to come with me. And then you go with the child. And then you stay on the task again for a few minutes and say to her, let me grab something from the room. And then you go and the child continues, or you just sneak away again. So gradually what happens is, and then when you come back, right, you can say, wow, you've been playing all by yourself without a mommy. Well done. I mean, you're engaging yourself, and you are not throwing a tantrum, and you are not throwing things around. You stayed there on your own and you engaged yourself. You stayed there on your own. Basically, you're just praising the fact that the child could be on his own. He did not destroy anything. He was playing with that mommy, and then he created this amazing thing while you were away. Basically, you are praising. So this is what shaping is. Okay. So gradually, and as I said at the beginning, in parenting, don't expect anything to be a quick fix or to happen automatically. It takes time. Okay, so as time goes on, from 4 minutes, you find that she can do 6, and then she can do 8, and then she can do 10, and all that. So this is how you help your child expand their attention span. Okay, this is how you help them expand their attention span, and this is also how you help them learn to play independently, so that you're beginning to sow the seed of independent learning. You're beginning to sow the seed of independence in that child. Another thing you can do is you can use timers. Okay, so I pulled my daughter from school when she was 4. One of the skills that one of the skills that we were looking at the time was we were looking at having her be comfortable being by herself. Okay, I wanted this skill. I wanted playing independently, working independently, doing stuff independently, and all that. And that was especially because I had noticed that she was a lot about people. Okay, she was a lot about people, unlike her brother. So she needed people all around her every time and all of that. By the time she was 3 and all that, no, it wasn't a problem. But hey, I was at that point where I needed to foster independent learning. Okay, and then the opportunity came for us to homeschool. And so yes, this was one of our major goals for homeschooling. And I promise you, she's 6 now and she's back to school. I do not need to sit down with my 6-year-old to do her homework. I don't. She actually says to you when she's coming home, as soon as I get home, I'm going to just sit down and do my homework so that I can have my playtime early and all that. So she comes, she sits down, she does her thing, and then finishes her homework and says to me, Mommy, can you come and look at my homework? And all that. So what you want to do is you want to introduce this early. As I said, parenting is seed time and harvest time. Okay, and then if you want to see something, then introduce it early and then work it using shaping, okay, to make that happen in the life of your child. So I said you can also use timers. So timer is so you're engaged with the child, and then you're playing with the child, and then you say to the child, oh, mommy's going to go off. Okay, I need to do something in the kitchen. Okay, let's set the timer. And of course, children love things like timer, when the bell goes, when the clock, the alarm goes, and all of that. So you can set the timer on the alarm and say, okay, you would have to each of us will have to work on our own for 3 minutes, and then you set the timer, and then you go off. It becomes like a game. Okay, so she's doing her stuff, you're doing your stuff, and then when the bell goes, you run, yay! See, when you are working with children, especially toddlers, you need to give them something that motivates them to do. Okay, you know my formula now. I am always singing this formula. Activity plus a sense of satisfaction will create motivation for whatever your child is doing. Schoolwork, a skill you're teaching them, to play, whatever it is, when there is a sense of satisfaction, when it doesn't seem like work, when it doesn't seem like, it's not stressful, when they can see it like play, then they love it. Okay? So use the timer. You on your own, you understand your goal. You're trying to expand their attention span. For the child, it is just a game. So she's going to do her thing until the timer goes, yay! And then you're like, okay, we're going to make it 3 minutes and 5 seconds this time. All right, mommy's off to the kitchen. Let's go. And then you go like that. And then you can increase the shaping going on. You can increase the timer as time goes on. Basically, what you're trying to do, you're trying to help this child play independently. So a child who plays independently, as the child grows older, you're going to be able to introduce independence in other areas. Okay, so that's the first mind block, to say that the child is too young. Oh no, the child is not too young. The second mind block is people say, the second mind block is, when they go to boarding school, they are going to boarding school to learn independence. Wow. Boarding school is not the place to learn independence. No, parents. Boarding school is not the best place for your child to learn independence. Mind you, I did not say boarding school is a bad place to go to. I didn't say that. If boarding school is your thing, if you have your reason for boarding school, by all means. But boarding school is not the place for your child to go and learn independence. Your child is supposed to learn independence from home, right from when they are infants and toddlers. That's where the training of independence begins. Boarding school is where your child goes to consolidate. Boarding school is the first, for a lot of parents, boarding school is the first, is the first, what do you call it? Is the first opportunity, or the first, how will I put it now? The first chance for your child to go into the world on his own without you being there. Okay, so it's boarding school that makes you understand how far your journey, or what you have been teaching your child so far, how much of it has been internalized. That's what boarding school is. Okay, so you have trained you. I've trained you. I mean, it's like going to war, right? It's like going to war, or going to learning apprenticeship. Okay, it's like going to war apprenticeship. So as an apprentice, you learn under the teacher, or your whatever they call it, master, whatever it is, boss. So you learn under the boss, and then at some point the boss will need to let you go so that he can see if you have mastered the trade. So in the same way, it's like going to war. You have finished all the combatant training and all of that. They will have to deploy you to Afghanistan. They will have to deploy you to Syria. They will have to deploy you to Sambisa at some point to see if all that combatant training took root. Okay, in the past, where let's say there's no war situation, I think they take them to like some jungle kind of, practice or something like that, just so that you can show yourself. Yeah, so boarding school is you releasing your child for the first time to see how far your training has gone. So for parents who wait, who do nothing, you have the maids do everything for your child, you fix them, you give them baths, you do everything, you fix their meals, you do practically everything, or have people do practically everything for them. And then you now get to a point and you now say, oh, I need them to go to boarding school so that they be independent. No, you are setting up that child for failure. That's what you do when you push your child to boarding school. Now, two, boarding school for them to go and learn independence. One. Number two, you are putting the child in a stressful environment, and you are actually setting the child for stressful kind of learning. Learning is not supposed to be done under duress. Learning is not supposed to be done under stress. That kind of learning will never be internalized. So when you send your child to boarding school to go and learn how to hold the broom for the first time and sweep, that child will end up despising that skill or that activity. So yes, they go to boarding school, they learn under duress. It becomes a survival thing. So they practically need to do it because they need to do it to survive. So they don't do it from a place of, oh, I understand my environment needs to be clean, and I need to clean it. I mean, my environment needs to be clean. I need to stay in a clean place. And for me to stay in a clean place, I need to learn how to clean my space, because it is part of my responsibility as a member of the team in the family to contribute my quota towards ensuring that we live in a clean home. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And so if cleanliness is next to godliness, and I honor my mom, I don't want her to keep being the one who does everything. Okay, I would like to also help and clean the house as my contribution to the team. So you see, your child is doing it from a place of reasoning, a place of understanding, a place of honor, a place of learned skill. Your child is not doing it under duress, where he has to be woken by a bell and has to be screamed at and shouted at, where he has to be laughed at. Okay, now at the point your child is being laughed at because he doesn't have that skill and all of that, the child's self-esteem is being damaged. These are some of the things that we take for granted. Your child's self-esteem is being damaged. Your child's confidence in his ability is being, damaged and all of that. Some of these things cannot be retracted. That's the truth. So for your 10-year-old, in fact, for those of you, we will send them away at 8 and 9, right? That's even worse. So you send your 8, 9-year-old who is trying to muster his courage, who is trying to understand who he is, who is trying to gain confidence, who is trying to understand his environment and how the world accepts him. He's struggling with all of this, who is dealing with all of the hormones that are beginning to rage in adolescence, who is dealing with acceptance, who is dealing with all of these things. And then you push this child, right, to a place where they are big. I mean, there are so many varying characters, different children from different homes of different ages and all of that. You push them there, and then the child is there still trying to get his feet on the ground or try to understand where he's at. At that point, people laugh at him every morning because he cannot hold the broom properly, or he cannot do stuff properly, or that he wheezes on his bed and he's laughed at. And we call this training in this part of the world. That's what we say. We say they need to go there so that they will go and be strong. No, this is not strength. Strength is not in shaming. Okay, strength is not in shaming. You do not want your child to grow strength from being shamed. Your child is going to be defensive. Your child is going to be rebellious. Your child is going to fight back in a wrong way. Fighting back has nothing to do with brute strength. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with words match. That's not what fighting back is about. Fighting back is understanding who you are, knowing who you are, having your voice, being able to use that voice every time, and being able to stand for what is right. So do not confuse these children and teach them that to fight back is to go and show brute strength. Don't confuse them and let them feel that to fight back is to go and be shamed first. So when you are shamed, you get ready for the next year when you are better, and you are waiting for the next person that will come so that you can shame them. So shaming becomes normal. That's why you go to offices and you see bosses who shame people, because shaming has been normalized. That's why you are in you find yourself in places, and then when people should be talked to, when people should be reasoned with, when people should be approached, rather than people being approached or people being talked to or spoken to, people are shamed because of the things that they do. It's because of this mentality that we feel that shaming is training. So no, you are supposed to make your child independent at home. When the child goes to school, the child goes there to consolidate on all that the child has been taught. So no, it is a mind block to think that your child needs to go to boarding school to learn to be independent. Okay, so your child should come back with stories that, mommy, you remember that time that you taught me to bend, when I'm laying the bed, to do, the triangular thing at the edge. When I got to school, I was the only one that could do it in my set. These are the kind of feedback. Hi, Chidima, it's good to have you. Hi, Ruth, bye-bye, I see you. So these are the kind of feedback we should have when our children go to school. Not all those shameful stories and them hiding things from us, because shaming, when people shame you, shaming is a huge thing. It even makes you keep your shame even from the people that you're close to. We don't recognize this thing, but it is what it is. I think I've drawn too much on number one, having children do things on their own. So yes, it is important that from the word go, you train your child to do things for themselves right from when they are little. No, there's a last pitfall or mindset that we need to squash. That is the one that says, if you have it, yeah, they're your children. If you have it, I do not want my children to suffer the way I suffer. So they need to relax and enjoy what I have. There is no one that said our children should not enjoy the proceeds of our hard work. But for you to have this kind of mindset and think that your children everything should be done for your children, and this is what justifies the fact that you are a better parent, or you're providing more for your child than your parents did for you. This mindset on its own is a block. And chances are you might just end up sabotaging or destroying your children in the name of loving them. All right, so let's jump to number two. So number two is, please parents, don't be overprotective of your child. If your child is going to be independent as a learner in life or anywhere at all, your child needs to learn how to take on obstacles. Okay, so for you parents, that every time your child comes home and says, Bola hits me, the next day you call the office and take excuse, or you just see one scratch on the hand or something, you will call the office and take excuse and tell them, I'm coming 1 hour late. You will go to school to go and meet Bola. Shame. As in, I don't understand whether we don't understand what is called shame. You will go and meet a 10-year-old. You will go to an 11-year-old and say to the 11-year-old, if you come near my child again, I will know now. No, now. Okay? No. This on its own is disempowering. All right? It on its own is disempowering for you to do that, for you to go and fight your child's fight on the playground, except it's the case of an outright bully that is many years older than your child. Okay, and then you can see that there is outright destruction, or there is outright, what do you call it now, abuse, or something that is, something that is catastrophic. If not, then no, it is disempowering for you to go every time your child has a misfortune or has conflict in the playground, for you to go and show yourself every time. The other one is when they do not pass well in school or something goes wrong and anything. The next thing you start shouting is, that school, the teacher, the teacher, the teacher. So at the end of the day, you never allow your children take responsibility for their poor performance. You don't allow them take responsibility for their poor performance. You don't allow them take responsibility for the things that they do. You don't allow your children take on the challenges and the obstacles that life throws at them. You are constantly fixing them and fixing everything. I understand the place of, as parents, I'm a parent, so I understand that you don't want your children to go through pain. It's actually disheartening when you see your child, going through pain. When you stand there and you see your child being being rejected by a friend or friends, right? When you see your child being rejected, going through pain, I understand it's not the best feeling really for any parents. But hey, parents, we would have to learn to brace up and allow our children go through some discomfort, allow them go through some level of pain, allow them go through some level of discomfort. Basically, you will have to get to that point if you are going to allow that child regulate, right? If you're going to allow that child learn to regulate and learn to emerge every time they have a challenge. Okay, now what happens when your children have this conflict, when they have these obstacles, is the message that goes to the brain is, okay, there is an obstacle, there is something in front of me, and I was created to survive. Survival instinct will kick in, and that survival instinct makes your child begin to ask questions. What do I do to get out of this situation? What do I do to handle this situation? What choice do I need to make right now for this situation to change? What do I have to do to douse what is going on right now? So you see, what happens is your child is thinking. Your child is thinking. Your child is trying to proffer solutions. Your child is trying to survive. Your child is trying to find solutions for himself. Now, when you come in and you come in to do, or you come in to fix the situation, what you have deprived, yes, I said deprived. What you have deprived that child of is the ability to survive, is the ability to think for themselves, is the ability to self-direct, is the ability to face that obstacle. So you are stealing from your child. You are stealing from your child every time you step in to fix their problem or to take their pains away. So yes, they need that discomfort. They need that pain, provided it is not life-threatening, provided it is not catastrophic. Then they need some of that pain for them to build stamina. So yes, all these many decisions that we make for them, we decide everything for them. You decide this, you decide that, you decide it. No, 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 no. It's being overprotective. And at some point, we will need to calm down if our children are ever going to be able to self-direct, become independent as learners or in any aspect or every aspect of their life. So you need to help your child learn to self-preserve and all of these other things that I have mentioned, okay? Now, apart from that, you also make your child draw the wrong conclusion about certain experiences. So your child has an experience and you don't allow the child to go through that experience, go through the emotions that come with that experience, wade through those emotions till they come to an end point where they're able to draw a conclusion, or they're able to infer, or they're able to draw meaning from that experience. When you come and fix it, you do this. You block all of this. Hi, Blessing. I see you. So when you do this, you block that experience, right? And so you help the child create a wrong conclusion or a perception of that experience. So that's why you see children who just end up, they speak. Sometimes children speak. There are times I am with some kids and they speak and I say to them, is that you or you regurgitating what your mother says? I say that to children. When you leave your children with me, there are a lot of things, they will hear. So when they say, I'm like, okay, all right, I need to understand that. Is that you? Do you understand what you're talking about? Or you're regurgitating what some adult said? And most times they will say to me, oh, the house help said, my cousin said, and all that. You need your children to have minds of their own. Let them have minds of their own. Let them be able to decipher and let them be able to draw conclusions from the experiences that they have, so that they are not constantly speaking with your voice, constantly speaking what you say. They need to know they need to be able to say something for themselves. All right? They need to understand. So allow your children preserve like that. All right. The next one is you need to allow your children do their schoolwork by themselves. All right. So this one, when I said independence, I'm sure that's all a lot of people were thinking about. Oh, okay, they can do their schoolwork. Okay, so we're here to schoolwork. So please, you need to allow your children do their schoolwork on their own. Okay, education on its own is supposed to be child directed. Really, it's actually supposed to be child directed. But the kind of education that we have today is such that it doesn't train our children to be independent. The education we have, especially in African, third world countries and all of that, the education that we have in most of this country is such that it does not allow our children to think. Yes, our children are not allowed to think. Our children are instructed. They're given instructions all the time. It's supposed to be a combination. It's supposed to be a blend. Okay, you should be thinking on your own. Sometimes you're given instructions. Sometimes you're supposed to be in a team. Sometimes it's supposed to be teamwork. It's supposed to be a mix of a lot of things. But because the schools are limited, a lot of times because of their numbers, because of teachers who do not even understand this thing, there are so many limitations that a typical school in this part of the world has. Okay, so because of that, our children a lot of the times are not trained to be independent. And this is the distinction between a typical child in Africa and a child in the first world. Okay, the child in the first world is enabled to think, is enabled to be a free, an independent learner. In Africa, we are instructed, so we are not given a chance to think. And then as parents, we don't even help matters. So the child goes to school and is instructed all the time. I have heard, I've been in classrooms where a child will ask, Miss whatever, Miss whoever, what is it? Please, that's not what we're learning right now. That's not what we're learning right now. Please face what we're learning right now. So you see, our children are not even supposed to sit down, and as they're sitting down, a thought comes and they need clarity on that thought immediately. And they ask for the teacher to seize that teachable moment and use it to broaden the perception or perspective that the child has or something. The teacher doesn't. It just takes it and throws it away and says to the child, focus on math. That's what we're doing right now. No, that's not what education is supposed to be. All right. So if in school, the school doesn't have the luxury, or the school is stifled by bureaucracy and schemes and all of that at home too. You want to stifle them with bureaucracy and scheme also. So at home there should be no scheme. Sorry, at home there should be no scheme when it comes to responding to our children and helping our children broaden their perspective and then expand their minds for learning and learning independently, as a matter of fact. So yes, you need to allow your children to, you need to challenge your children to think. So how do you challenge them? You need to create an environment in your home that is stimulating. Okay, you need to equip your home with things that stimulate your children. Do you have toddlers? Then have the Legos. Have the Legos, have things that your children have to build, that they have to create and all of that, so that they are thinking and they are doing on their own. This is how you build confidence, when children are able to do on their own. And this is how you build confidence, all right? And this is how children become experts at the things that they do. You learn best when you practice, and you become an expert. You become good at what you do through consistent practice. And then that practice has to be independent at some point, because that's where the confidence or self-assurance comes from. The fact that I know that I did it on my own and no one assisted me. I mean, if you're paying attention, just pay attention to the times that your children achieve things on their own. Pay attention to how excited they are and how proud they are to say to you. My daughter will say to her daddy, "Daddy, I did it all by myself." Oh, that's where confidence comes from. That's where self-esteem comes from. You're thinking of how to build your child's esteem and self-confidence. Okay? So let them do. So my daughter came with homework yesterday, and there was a task. In that task, I mean, there was a task that she's supposed to do, the real task, and then there's the extended, or what they call the challenge. Okay, the challenge task or something like that. Now she was so proud. She was so proud. She said to me when she was doing her homework, she said, "Mommy, there's even a challenge part too. And I'm going to get a star in school today because I'm just going to think and finish this challenge." Do you understand? So I think the challenge part was supposed to stretch her, okay, and then she would be able to, like, if she has to put her thoughts into it, okay, for her to be able to get it right. So she did it, and she did it. She finished everything, and then she's like, "Homework done," and closed her book, and it was time for her playtime. My children play every day. Okay, so she went off to play. So later in the day, I came to look at her homework. I looked at it, and I can't remember how many challenge tasks anyway, but she actually did not do a lot of them right. She actually did not do a number, okay, not a lot, a number of them right. She didn't do a number of them right, and all that. But guess what? I didn't call her to redo it. No, I didn't. I didn't call her to redo the challenge task. She wasn't sleeping yet when I looked at it. Okay. I didn't call her to look at those challenge tasks again. I didn't. Why didn't I do that? My daughter came very confident, right, that she's going to ace this thing and she's going to go to school and get stars, right? Now, I want her to go to school and see that, oh, all that confidence that you came with, you actually didn't get the task. I mean, you didn't get everything right. So that the next time she comes with a challenge task, she's probably going to give it more time, because the last time she was so confident about it, she actually didn't get all of it right. So this time she's probably going to have to sit down and give it more over time. And then, very importantly, she would say to me, "Oh, mommy, can you look at it and see? Oh, mommy, I need help. Can you look at it and see if I do?" She needs to get to the point as a learner when she can ask for help. She needs to get to a point as a learner where she wants to do so well. It's so important to her. She goes out of her way to get the support that she needs. A lot of the times is we force support on our children. We force it, we force it, we force it. So we're not nudging, we're not saying to them, "Look at it again. How do you think? What do you think? Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Why did you choose this? What do you think about this? You want to look at it?" We don't do that. Rather, what we do is we look at that thing again. You cannot see that this thing is going wrong. Come on, add that thing together. 5 and 2. Is it 6? Is it 6? 5 and 2 is not 7. So what have you done? You have managed to, deplete the child's enthusiasm, and then you have gone ahead to tell the child the answer, and then you have actually ruffled the child up. Forgive me. Do you get? So basically, we need to understand this. All of these things, it takes practice, it takes consciousness. It takes consciousness, it takes being purposeful as a parent. Sometimes it takes learning skills for you to get to this point of be able to understand how to support your child effectively. I want to say this to you as a parent. You cannot parent a phase in your child's life 2 times. You're going to have a chance to parent every phase only once. Your child is not going to be 5 years old 2 times. Neither is your child going to be 10 twice. Your child is going to be 5 once. So if you're going to miss all that you would do or help your child with at the point that the child is 5, yes, and then you self-correct by the time the child is 8. You would do that much at 8, but a lot would have gone wrong, or a lot would have gone under the bridge, at the point that the child is 4. Do you understand? So at that point, or by the point the child is 8, you probably will have to work 5 times harder for you to be able to, get the child to the place where you want them to be. And this is why we started the mentor parent support 100% support program. So we started our program on the 2nd, right? We started our program on the 2nd, and in that program we're going to be with parents for the whole of first term, doing all that I'm talking to you about right now, supporting these parents, telling them the strategies to use, what to do, try this, try that. Well, we're starting by right now, we're still creating our goals. So the parents are still deciding what areas of my children's learning do they have gaps? What areas do I need to create goals? What do we need to nip in the bud? What do we need to get right now? What do we need? I was speaking to a parent yesterday, and she said, my house help is leaving at the end of the year, and my son is going to be 11 in a few weeks. I don't want to bring in another help. So I am focusing on self-management, okay, time management, self-management, home management, leadership skills, right? Leadership skills, and what else did she say? Kingdom life, something like that. So this is what this parent is focusing on. So we are going to sit with these parents and create plans that will help the child, the parent, teach the child along this line, because this parent has a goal for the next 3 months. So this is what we're doing in the program. And in that program, we have parent coach, we have teachers, we have an expert, we have an early year expert, a curriculum expert in early years. We have a grounded elementary teacher who's good who is an expert in math, science, and all of these. So we're going to be here supporting these parents academically and in life skills, everything. We want a holistic approach to education, and we want parents being involved. This is not to say you will become your child's class teacher or lesson teacher if that's not what you want. Hey, if they have lesson teacher, it's okay. It just means that you are taking the front stage in their education. You understand what is going on. You are placing demands on the teachers. You know what to demand for. You know what to look out for. And then we're going to help you be able to monitor, evaluate, and then be able to monitor, assess, do assessment, and then evaluate where your child is at. Then we can come back and create goals and continue to work. So it's an amazing, and class opens at 4 o'clock every day, and these parents can reach me and the teachers on the group from 4 till about 8 p.m. in the night every day for the next 3 months. So tell me, none of our kids are not going to do it. In fact, let's leave the matter. All right, so that's it. So let me rush quickly through the last 3 points that I have. Okay, last 2. Okay, the other one is let your children make decisions. Let them make decisions for themselves. Let them make a lot of decisions, more like. Okay, so we need to allow our children make decisions. We don't allow our children make decisions because we don't give them choices. So you tell them who should be their friend. You tell them what to wear. You tell them, who should be their friend. You tell them what to wear. You tell them not to watch this program. You tell them not to read that book. You tell them not to. You practically tell them everything. Sorry, I didn't say. If you would, we are still taking parents into the mentor 300 the 100% support program. We are still taking parents. It's for the entire 3 months. So if you would still like to join us, we're at the point where we're just creating goals right now. So if you would like to join us, please just send me a DM or just say it in the comments that you would like to join us. We want to take overwhelm from you. We don't want you to be overwhelmed, yet we want you to be able to support your child 100%. Okay, even if they have lesson teachers or they don't have lesson teachers, we want to help you that much because we're big on the holistic approach to education, and we're big on every parent putting their hands on the plow. That's the only way, that's the best way really to train your children. That's the best way. You have to push your hands on the plow. That's the best way to train any child. That's the best way to see the results that each of us wants to see. All right. So I said our children are not making decisions. So we need to learn as parents to give our children choices. Now, give them choices so that they can make decisions. So, pending on their age, you want to put decisions that are decisions that will not destroy anybody, right? So small start by giving them small, allowing them make small decisions at home, decisions that affect their lives and then affect the family in general. Okay, begin to allow them. Now, a way to streamline or the way to train decision making is to give children choices. Okay, so give them 2, 3 choices to choose from. Okay, so you can say to the kids, oh, it's Thursday, we're going to have what's on the menu table? Rice. Oh, okay. So come say, what do you think? Or decide. I'm in the room. Just decide what kind of rice you would want us to make. I'll be in the room. Just let us know. Let me know which rice you want us to make. Or today we're going to have rice. Who is going to make it for us? Let them among themselves decide. Okay, Kamsi will make it today. Oh no, Amaka will make it today. Allow children make decisions. So the best way to do it is give them choices if you don't want to leave too many choices available to them. Do not come and say to your child, would you like to make rice today or not? Don't give them that kind of leeway if really you want to train something. If you want to train something, it's simple. Oh, you need to make rice today. What kind of rice would you like to make? Oh, someone needs to cook today. Which of you is going to do the cooking today so that the other person can do it next week? Something like that. So basically, we need to stop making every decision. You tell them what clothes to wear. You tell them what friends to have. You need to trust your children, empower your children so much. Teach them how to make informed choices. Okay, let them make mistakes. Let them fail in their mistakes. Okay, it is very important. As I said before, every time you come in and you make these decisions, you come in and you settle all their obstacles and all their problems. You stop the brain from being able to direct itself or direct the child. You stop the child from being able to seek his own solutions, okay, and try different ways to self-correct. If you do this, your child will not be able to self-correct because you're not allowing them make mistakes. We are so scared of mistakes. You don't want them to play outside because you think they will fall. So the child doesn't get a chance to go play outside simply because you are anticipating a fall that might not happen. And then if the fall happens, so what? If the fall happens and it's not life threatening, so what you want to do, you want to make sure that your environment is as safe as possible. Create an environment that is as safe as possible and then allow your children, introduce your children to this environment. Yes, and then leave allowance for mistakes, allowance for falling and all of that. When they do that, allow them come in and then be empathetic. I've said this before, we need to avoid using caboose in our training or in our parenting. So you say to the child, or you give the child a chance to, you say to the child, I need you to do this, and he says he doesn't want it that way. That's another thing that we struggle with. We struggle with our children not wanting what we want for them. So you say to the child, I want you to wear this, or I want you to do this, and the child decides not to, or the child says, no, I would rather. He has a mind of his own at this point. I'm like, no, I would rather not, and all of that. And then he now does that thing, or he goes his own way, and it goes wrong. When it goes wrong, in fact, before he does it, you will say to him, oh yeah, do it now, ITK, sure you know too much. Oh yeah, do. At the end of the day, you will fail. So you have given the child the permission to go ahead, but you have also added a caboose to it by saying to the child, you will fail. By saying to the child, I mean, do you understand? So what kind of permission did you really give the child? So you need to get to the point where you allow your children make decisions and say to them, I trust you to make the right choice. Okay? And then even when they make the choice and that choice turns out not to be right, you need to be close by, right? You need to be close enough and build a relationship where they're able to come back and say to you, Mom, so this decision didn't turn out well and all of that. And that is your joker. That is the point that, I mean, that's the thing that you're waiting for. That's what you should be waiting for. A chance to step wisdom to your child. So you can now step down wisdom. You analyze, you allow them go through the experience and then figure out what went wrong or what they did wrong, why they think they got the outcomes that they got. Okay, so when you get to that point, the child is able to understand, the child is able to reflect, the child is able to analyze, the child is able to gain this skill. And you know what this skill does for the child? It simply means that the next time the child encounters this kind of experience, the next time the child has this kind of challenge or challenges, the child is better equipped to take on that challenge. The child is better equipped to use the knowledge that the child has. So the child will approach this better the next time. But if you continue to tell them what to do, I mean, take your home is like a training ground. Okay, take it. Your home is a training ground. Your home is a simulation center where experiences are figured out and brought in the home and allowed the children are allowed to have those experiences so that they can learn in your presence, or they can learn under your guidance. So yes, go and create experiences. Go and create the things that your child can encounter in real life. Look for things that your children can encounter and create those experiences in your home so that your children can face these obstacles and this challenge in your presence or while you are present, and you are able to direct them. This will give you confidence as a parent when your children walk out of your doors, because you have seen them you've seen them go through these challenges, and then you have seen them, you have seen them proffer solutions. You have seen them take on these challenges, and you have seen them survive through these challenges. So when they are going to school, when they are going to college, when they are going abroad, when they are leaving your home, you are not fretting. You are not packing your bag. I'm not saying if you want to pack your bag and follow them. But hey, pack your bag and follow them, not because you are afraid. Pack your bag. I don't know how to put it, but hey, what I'm saying is you cannot parent with fear. You cannot hold on to your children all the way because you are afraid. Give yourself some peace. If you allow your children learn, do things on their own, self-direct, you allow your children make choice, give your children choices and allow them make decisions, you will rest and the child will rest. Children don't say it. Some of them are so afraid to say it to you, but you're choking them. You choke, parents. You choke. Okay? So some of our children are practically being choked by us, man. So because of the relationship that you have, they may not be able to say to you, you're choking us, but hey, you're choking me. You are choking them. Okay? And they cannot wait to get out of your presence. So some children, as they are at 12, they are waiting for 18 to get out. Some children at 11 are waiting to get out to boarding school. They are saying boarding school. He's not afraid because in his head, man, anything but this choking. Man, you're choking me. So yes, let me go to a place where there's no one choking me. At least you are not the one choking me for 3 months. Do you understand? So we need to be careful about that. Okay, our time is almost up. Now, the last one. Let's look at the last one. What's the last one? Okay, let your children set goals. Okay, let your children set goals and thrive. Strive to achieve those goals. Let them set goals and strive to achieve those goals. Very important. Okay, so, and then those goals could be chores. Okay, so introduce chores. It's a good way to make your children learn independence, make your children self-direct. It's a good way for your children to be self-learners. It's a good way for your children to learn to do things on their own. So introduce chores in your home. Introduce chores as early as 3 years old. I introduce chores with my kids from when they are 3. So introduce chores to your children when they are 3 years old, chores that are age appropriate, and then you can take it from there and begin to increase them as they grow older. All right. Set goals. I have the children set goals every morning. So you can have your children set goals at the beginning of the year, half year. Okay, at every point, let them just have something that they are working towards. It's a new school year. Allow your children set academic goals for themselves. So that's one of the things that the parents in our mentor program are doing with their children. They're going to be setting goals for the academic year, and the goal or the plan is to, what do you call it, to exceed those goals. All right, so let your children have setting goals in front of them at every point of their life. Let there always be a goal in front of your child. Okay, let them have daily goals, let them have monthly goals, let them have goals for the year, half year, and all of that. Very important if you want your child to self-direct and look at himself as responsible for himself. Okay, sometimes we keep shouting, this generation, they are this, they are this, they're entitled, they are that. But hey, we actually are the ones who train entitlement in our children. The kind of parenting that most of us, know, the only way we know parenting is such that we make our children entitled. You have your children from when they are born till when they are 8 and 10. You have one house help going around, packing their this, packing their that, bringing out their clothes, picking this, ironing for them, doing everything practically for your children. And then after that, you ship them to boarding school where someone has to say to them, wake up at this time, you eat at this time, you go and read at this time. Basically, the child is not making any decision in the boarding school by himself. So when people say, I'm going to the boarding school to independence, I'm looking at them, I'm like, no. Boarding school is not where your child learns independence. In boarding school, your child is instructed and your child is directed all the way from the day he walks into school to the day he gets home. He's being instructed and directed, and that does not allow critical thinking. It doesn't allow your child have the mind of his own. It doesn't allow your child think. It doesn't allow your child become independent as a learner. It doesn't give your child a chance to make choices. The only choice that your child makes in boarding school is to decide whether to wear the shirt 2 times or to wear it once. Is to decide. In fact, for some, even you don't even have that. You can't even make that decision. Your house masters or your senior, someone is supposed to ensure that, by way of training, that you wash. In fact, there's a time designated for you to go and wash your clothes on a particular day after school. There's a time for washing. So basically, your child does not self-direct in boarding school. Your child does not learn independence. Your child is just forced to do the things that they don't do at home. It's forced to do those things in school. And it's actually a very wrong way for your child to learn these skills for the first time. And definitely your child is learning independence there. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. Do you have a copy of Mentor Parent? If you don't have a copy of this book, what are you doing? What's going on with you? Okay, if you want a copy of Mentor Parent, it is a book that shares stories. It's story format. It's shared, what you can do with your children right from when they are in the cradle, right from when they're toddlers, infants, up to when they are in their teens and your whole 18 years. So it gives you skills and strategies, story format, what you can do to support your children. All right. And then this one is my son's story of how he's been supported. It's called Baby Steps. All right. So each of my books go for 3,000 naira. Do you have a copy of our planner? You don't have a copy of this planner. This is the time of the year you need to start planning. You need to start planning for next year. So this book has my plans for my children for 18 whole years. Every single thing that we're doing is recorded in this book. Pre-plan and all of that. And the children have access to this. So the children know what our expectations are. then they have a chance. If you have listened to my son's TEDx speech, he actually said when he turned 7, he had a chance to be a part of the plans that we have created for him. And so we're tweaking some. He's saying, no, I would rather not do this. I would rather do that. And then there's a chance for you to go back and look at those plans, tweak them over the years, but you have your record. It's an amazing book. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone who joined. I can't see all your comments because on Facebook I am using my mobile phone. It's not allowing me to see beyond 5 6 comments. So thank you everyone who joined. Thank you, Chidima. I see you. Blessing, Debbie, and every other person. Sorry if I've not mentioned your name and you're here. Thank you very much for joining. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely rest of the day. And yeah, tomorrow is Friday. You know I love Fridays, right? I love weekends, right? I love weekends because it gives me time to be with the children, my husband, family without any pressure. I'm like, oh, we're not going anywhere. We're just chilling, right? Or if we decide to go, we go together, kind of thing. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely rest of the day. If you got value from this session, please say in the comments. Let us know you got value. If you have questions, please ask. If you want any of our resources, please put them right there. If you want to be a part of the Mentor Parent Support Program, this is my baby program. I am in this program with my whole heart. So please, this is me. This program is me. It is me. This is what I've done with the kids. This is me. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye. I'm signing out now. I'm signing out now. Even I enjoy that.